Hello aspirants, welcome to this special session of Vision IS. At the outset, we'd like to congratulate you all for having decided to appear in the prestigious Civil Services exam which will be conducted by the Union Public Service Commission in 2025. Nearly 10 lakh aspirants enroll every year, out of which approximately 5 lakh appear in the preliminary exam. Owing to the growing importance and the rising competitiveness of the first stage of the process, which is called the prelims, it has become more important than ever. There must be numerous doubts and queries swirling in the minds of the aspirants. To address the same, today we have with us an eminent Vision IS faculty, Jasmine ma'am. Hello ma'am.
Hello Shiranjeet.
Ma'am, before we proceed, I'd like to ask a simple question. Is it the right time to start preparation for 2025 prelims or is it too late?
I would say definitely this is the right time and it is not late to start for 2025. The 2024 exam is still to be conducted, and if aspirants have seen the exam pattern, they have developed their main strategy, they've chosen their optional, then they can definitely go on and think about their prelims preparation.
So now, having confirmed that it is not too late, we can proceed. First things first, the many normal challenges that an aspirant encounters during its long journey of preparation. What would this list of challenges look like?
The fact that you use the word normal challenges makes it very, very universal, and the fact that no aspirant should feel that this is something special which is happening to him, because all aspirants will face challenges of the syllabus, time management, how they are supposed to revise, how they are supposed to write tests, which sources they are supposed to be referring to. So all the aspirants who sit in this exam, they face these challenges.
I would like to pick the word syllabus, which you mentioned in your answer, and which also top the list of the challenges that aspirants normally encounter. Now, what all subjects does the UPSC syllabus comprise?
So UPSC syllabus is very extensive in the sense it covers polity, geography, history, environment, science and tech, and at the same time it talks about current affairs of India and the world, which means that inherently the international relationship also becomes a part of the syllabus.
Now, going by the types of questions that are being asked these days, can we say that UPSC lays emphasis on each and every subject equally?
Definitely the pattern of UPSC is not something which we can predict, and any assessment which we make, UPSC likes to surprise us through that. So all subjects will not have the same weightage, and the weightage is not stable also. Like some year one subject might get more attention, another year another subject might get more attention, and it is very important that the aspirants stick to the syllabus and they cover all the parts of the syllabus comprehensively. Like they cannot focus more on one or less on one. They need to do the due diligence in all the subjects.
You just talked about the variation in the importance from one subject to another. Has it ever happened in the past that UPSC has suddenly asked a lot of questions from a particular subject which did not appear in the previous years?
I'll give you an example here, Chiranjeet. Like we have modern Indian history as one very big core subject, which of course students have to prepare. And then there is one portion of history which is the medieval history. For many years, students were not really inclined to prepare medieval India because there were not questions being asked from this section. And in 2019, what UPSC did was they asked 5 questions from this section. So that was something which aspirants were not prepared with. And similarly, modern Indian history, which is approximately 50% of history, sometimes even more. So there are 10 questions which have come consistently in many years. So last year, UPSC asked only 3 questions from modern India. Again, which kind of tells us that every subject, the bigger subject, the smaller subject, but whatever is listed in the syllabus, that the aspirant needs to prepare, because any of these numbers in terms of weightage, UPSC can vary at any time. So the aspirant needs to go in fully prepared.
So ma'am, you just talked about the possibility of variability as regards different subjects. In one particular year, the focus area must be one subject, and the next year the focus area changes. So has it ever happened in the past that UPSC suddenly asked a number of questions from a particular subject which did not feature in the previous years?
Definitely, I think that happens all the time. UPSC is experimenting with the pattern of questions, the way they are asking questions, and also weightage of different subjects. Like, I'll give you an example from history. So, history is, for prelims, is ancient, medieval, modern Indian history. And out of this, maximum syllabus is from modern Indian history, maximum weightage has been around modern Indian history. But last year, 2023 prelims, only 3 questions were asked from this section. And there have been times when 10 questions also have been asked, which is a very, very major drop. A subject like medieval India here, that was not asked for many years. And in 2019, they asked 5 questions directly from medieval India, which a lot of aspirants were not prepared with. So it's important for the aspirants to recognize this fact, that they cannot ignore any part. They have to pay attention to every part and prepare everything in their syllabus.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the insightful analysis. So the bottom line is that a subject-specific approach cannot be taken, and an aspirant should actually go through all the topics mentioned in the UPSC syllabus. Now moving away from this syllabus part, let's focus on the resources. How to pick the right resources?
When you are thinking of or planning to cover the syllabus, I think the starting point should be NCERT books. They're the most basic books, so NCERTs from 6th standard onwards, they can be followed. Then there are some standard books available for different subjects, like you have Lakshmikant for polity, then you have Vipin Chandra in history. So these books can be used. And along with that, a major part of how questions are being asked is they are picked up somewhere from the current affairs. Even if the static behind the current affairs is asked, but still current affair as a source will be very important. So that also has to be specifically prepared and added to the whatever different resources the aspirant is using.
Now, before discussing the current affairs part, let's focus on the NCERT part. How important are NCERT books, and which all NCERT books have to be read?
I think NCERT books are one tool which are simple, which are easy to understand for everyone irrespective of their background. For non-humanity students especially, this will help them relate to the subject at the most foundational level. And for everyone, I think the strategy can be they can start from class 6th and create a good base, go to 7th, 8th, and depending on the need of different subjects, further advanced level books can be used. But 6th to 8th, I think, will give a very good start to this preparation.
The task seems very humongous. So are there any number of hours that actually one needs to devote to cover the NCERT books?
It will depend again on, are you just reading NCERTs or are you also covering some other things, right? But if I have to maybe design a plan, I would say that if you're trying to give say 2-3 hours a day to NCERTs, so 6 to 8 NCERTs should take somewhere around 3 months, 4 months maybe, again because reading speed and backgrounds will be different. But if you are able to do them in a good 4 months, I think that is a good start.
That sounds very reasonable. Now let's deal with the current affairs part. Students also face a number of problems while dealing with current affairs. What should be the correct approach to cover current affairs?
For current affairs, the starting point is definitely the newspaper. So the newspaper is going to be making the student connected to the daily developments, and it will also help them in developing their critical analysis, to interpret different issues, to understand different issues, because they'll be reading not just the reporting articles, but they will also be reading editorials and opinions and other such articles. So you have the Hindu or the Indian Express. They are both very good and very significant from the kind of content which we look for in UPSC. So they should be followed without fail every day. And along with that, one monthly magazine which is exactly in the note format, written for the purpose of the UPSC exam, that can be added for current affairs preparation.
Ma'am, but while reading the newspapers, a student may come across very difficult topics, especially from economics and science and technology. For example, monetary policy tools or recent developments in biotechnology. So how to deal with this difficulty?
As the aspirant starts reading the newspaper, of course, it will take some time for him to, understand all the subjects. But as he goes more into the static part, he'll be able to understand those topics. But you're very rightly mentioning that economics or science, what we call the technical parts of the paper, they will be a little tricky, especially if that's not your background. So in that, students can add additional NCERT books like macroeconomics, microeconomic books of class 12th, or Indian economy of class 11th, or NCERTs of class 9th, 10th, or like you've mentioned, biotechnology. So that can be picked up from the class 12th biology NCERT. The important thing for the student to recognize is that when he's reading a particular topic in the newspaper and he wants to go back to the basics of that topic, he can have a topic-centric approach rather than a book-centric. That he might not need to read the whole book. Like if biotechnology is one chapter in one science NCERT, then just reading that one chapter, or that if there's a part of the topic, that might be enough. So the student can kind of do a backward study. Pick up these NCERT books to understand the concept, depending on what concept or what topic he's looking for.
Okay, that was quite comprehensive the way you guided. No doubt there's a lot to cover, and that is what makes this journey very special. Now let's come to the revision part along with notes making. Normally students start notes making or start doing revision, but it becomes very difficult to sustain this habit. What can be done in that regard?
One thing students need to understand is why they are making notes, right? The most important benefit of making notes is in such topics, right? Like you are reading an article on monetary policy, but there's also a definition of this or some fact or some background. So if you can put that with whatever you've read in current affairs in one place, your revision will become very easy. Because ultimately it will become very tedious to go back to 4 places, 4 different books, or an NCERT and a newspaper and a current affairs magazine for that same topic. So if you put all of those things in one place, your job of revising and going back to that topic will become smoother. The other thing is the exercise of making notes is going to be a very, very effective learning tool. Because like you've said, it's a humongous task. We have so many things to cover. So you need better learning strategies, and note making could be that. Along with that, we have static portion, we have current affairs, integration of that. We will have a repetition of a lot of topics. So integration of that development, like everything you read about, the role of the governor. You can have that whole thing in one place. Whatever issues are coming in different states, you can have a very, very comprehensive location. And if they are your notes, you've made them, you will find it very motivating to read and revise them in future whenever you want to.
So it may seem very tedious, but it's very important to make notes and timely notes. Now we have covered 3 important aspects: syllabus, resources, and notes making. Next comes time management, because an aspirant needs quality time to go through all these. So how to do that? What is time management, and how can time be managed well?
I think the aspirants listening to us through this discussion might already have started feeling, when do I have the time to do all of this? And time is one big constraint, especially when the aspirant is not a full-time aspirant. There might be somebody who has a job or might be in college. So there is a need to recognize that there's no ideal time, but what can be ideal is consistency, right? Whatever time you're able to devote, you should be able to do that consistently. If you have 4 hours, if that works for you, 4 hours every day. If 7 hours is working for you, 7 hours every day. At the same time, to understand how much time you need to have some long-term plans also. Like you need to plan what you want to cover in a month, right? Maybe a daily plan will not give you a better picture. But if you are deciding to cover a subject, you'll need a longer time frame. You need weekly plans. And then you need to keep evaluating, are you able to stick to those plans? Are you able to cover those targets? So a strategy has to be in place, and only then the student will be able to effectively manage his time, because he'll know that this is the target he has to complete. So I feel more than the time idea, the idea of what the student needs to cover before, say, the prelims exam, that will be a greater motivator for effective utilization of time.
I'm sure this has been done in the past and students were really enthusiastic and come up with solid timetables. So now about managing stress, because we're human beings and the journey is going to be very long. So how to manage the low points?
First thing is acceptance of the fact that you will have low points, you will have low days, you will have high days where you'll be very motivated, and you'll have days when you don't want to study at all, right? That's all part of the game, because like you've mentioned, it's a long journey, and the long journey means every day will be different. So some kind of an investment in something which can help you get those much needed breaks, maybe investing in some activities which are refreshing, which are like the break which you need for your mind to come back and do all of that task again of preparation and study and tests and everything. I would recommend that students need to invest in a hobby. It can be anything. It can be maybe taking a walk, talking to friends, or maybe music, a musical instrument, anything which works for them. And interestingly, UPSC asks you that also. When they ask you to fill your detailed application form, they'll ask you what are your hobbies. And maybe in preparation, you do not get time for a hobby, but your relaxation exercise can be your hobby, which if you present it there, you will be able to explain very well. So this can be another benefit to that whole thing.
Definitely. So students actually should remember that the hobbies may help them at the end while filling their DAF entries. So even if you don't have hobbies, you can create some.
Yes.
And ma'am, moving away from this time management part, we have dealt with most of the aspects. Now let's come to mock tests. When should an aspirant start taking mock tests?
Mock tests, I think, are, first of all, I would like to say that yes, they are a must task which every aspirant must be doing. And in this sense, when they start a mock test would be when they complete a subject. It doesn't need to be all the subjects or the whole preparation. You can't really wait that first I'll study everything, then I'll start giving mocks. Once you've completed a subject, you should be writing the basic mock test of that particular subject, because otherwise you can't really evaluate if your preparation is going on the right track, if you've covered everything, if you have understood everything. So complete a subject, write the basic test.
So there is no right time for mock tests, and it depends upon an individual's preparation.
Yes.
Now this discussion on mock tests will remain incomplete if we don't talk about our Vision IAS All India Test Series and Mentoring Program 2025. Could you tell the students the salient features of this program?
So Chiranjeet, to address all the challenges which we have discussed here, the Vision IAS Test Series and Mentoring Program will be very helpful. This is a very comprehensive plan curated on the lines of the UPSC exam. Very close in terms of the pattern of questions, and they are dividing this at different levels. So we have 8 fundamental tests, then you have 17 applied tests, and then you have 10 full-length tests. So the first 25 tests are subject-wise tests. And in that, the student can choose, like, whichever subject he is prepared, he can choose and write the test for that. After the test, of course, he gets the detailed answers. Then he gets a test discussion where the questions and answers are going to be explained to him. And along with that, whatever challenges he faces, to help him with those challenges or to navigate him towards getting a better score or improving his performance, there'll be dedicated mentoring program in this.
Thank you, ma'am, for enlightening the students about the salient features of our program. Now comes the post-test analysis part. What normally happens, a candidate, an aspirant, writes a mock test and then forgets. He never tries to revisit that particular paper. So how important is the post-analysis part?
See, the mock tests or the test series has to be taken as a learning exercise. So if you don't go back and see what you did in that test, I think you really don't get the complete benefit of that test. So students need to spend adequate time in going through the answers, in going through the post-test analysis, which is available on Vision student portal also, where the student will be able to understand what is his accuracy, what kind of questions he's not able to answer, and that will decide how he moves his preparation from there. So if you don't improve with the test, then you'll be at the same level till you actually write the UPSC exam, and that's not what you would want. Along with this, there is a lot of additional material also which can be added to your post-test analysis. So there is some quick revision modules which are available. So student can realize and understand that, okay, these are the parts where I'm struggling. So he can update the content part also depending on how his performance is. So a lot of time should be spent on this post-test analysis.
So students should actually know the importance of post-test analysis cannot be overstated. Now let's come to the mentoring program of our All India Test Series package, which completes it and which is very unique in nature. Could you tell the importance of a mentor in an aspirant's life?
See, we have mentors who have been in this process of the exam, and through their experience and of course the experience from other toppers and people who have done well in this exam, a student can get benefit for his personalized issues, right? Like we have talked about so many different challenges, but all the challenges might not always be academic. There can be some non-academic challenges also. There might be motivational issues, right? Because it is a long journey. So a mentor will guide the aspirant through all of that. He will be instrumental in helping the aspirant understand his performance and, of course, suggest solutions and improvements which he needs to make in this journey.
The details that you shared were quite comprehensive, ma'am. Thank you again for enlightening, and thank you for joining us and sharing your valuable insights and inputs regarding how to prepare for Prelims 2025. Now, dear aspirants, time has come to gear up. As the going gets tough, the tough get going. Wish you all the very best in your preparation journey.